Hello there and welcome back. In today's video this one's really after my heart here. It's all about how can parents help teenagers manage stress. So stay tuned as we address that in this video. As a parent of four kids who are now young adults, but all four were in high school together at the same time. So that with all my years working with teenagers and so many lessons learned from personal experience, my own failures, my own weaknesses, seeing it with teenagers has really helped me to understand what it takes. And so for you parents out there, we're going to talk about this idea of building the mindset of a champion arch. We're going to talk about the process of helping them, which would be like taking responsibility, to cleaning up the past, to applying HEAT, which stands for habit, emotion, attitude training, and weeding the garden of your soul, tending that. We're going to cover all those things in this video. What I talk about in a lot of the work and speeches and all the stuff I do is a concept I call mindset of a champion arch. And there's the metaphor behind this is the arch is a beautiful architectural structure that really supports all the pieces support each other to hold weight, But arches last, and architecturally, they're really kind of beautiful, and you see them everywhere, right? So you build an arch, you've got to begin with a foundation, and that foundation is leading with a heart, right? It's all about love and what that really means to people, and there's a whole lot that goes into that. But you also have these piers of faith and faithfulness, and faith is about trust and understanding that, and really understanding what you truly believe about what you're putting trust in, and how you answer four key questions. What's the origin? What's the meaning of life? What's the origin of morality? And what happens when I die? Everybody answers those questions, maybe unconsciously, but your brain's answering those questions. Some of us really think about those, and it shapes your worldview. Those are important questions to make sure you really understand what you believe and whether you are working in alignment. Then there's faith, which is certain characteristics, trustworthiness, and other character traits that go into all that. Then we have the Vosors, relationships, family and friendships, how they interact with your mindset interacts with them, and your mind and body connection is all held together by this concept, the spirit of a champion. That's the mindset of the champion arch. All of those components, we need to focus on teaching and training our children how to achieve those. You know, one of the things I learned from all these experiences I have with students and all, and I need to apply all these lessons and the things that I'm sharing with you in this video in my own life. And I am so glad I had started really applying these in my life, because up until 2022, I really had led a very charmed, blessed life. I really did. In all these storms in my life, all these challenges were nothing, really, in comparison to 2022 in June of that year, having my wife of 28 years, the love of my life, diagnosed with cancer. And what that meant, and like all the now the challenges that we're going to have and trying to help her fight that, and the mindset that we were both going to have, and the stress. Now my children, I thank God that they were older. My youngest was in college, so he was still young, but the others were out of college and working. Um, but I had to apply all the things that I teach and the things I'm going to share with you guys in a moment in order to do this big fight that we were planning on fighting. Well, in July, she goes in for surgery. She's going to have part of her colon removed. It was colon cancer. And we went in the night before, blood test, all that. Next day, the surgeon said, look at the blood tests. We really can't do surgery today. So we're going to have your oncologist come over. We're going to have a little meeting. We'll kind of tell you what's up. And when they came in for the meeting, they said, you can't do surgery. In fact, the cancer is so aggressive, we really think you should think about hospice. I was not prepared for that at all. I had I had refused that possibility. I was refusing that thinking. And a week later, she passed away. Well, in December, after she passed away in July, one of my former students who I've referred to a number of times in these videos, she lost her brother and grandmother 2 weeks period of time just before Christmas time. And her family had a long history of depression, alcoholism, drug abuse, all this stuff. She had avoided that her whole life, but she was in a dark place. And we communicated. She knew my wife had died, so I was able to share some of that, the grief stories and all. But she said that the foundation we had given her back in middle school was what helped her get through that. And another one of my former students said the same thing when she lost her sister that spring to a long illness. And she had actually stayed home from college for a year to be with her sister because her sister was dying. And she kind of said the same thing. So the lessons that we all applied are what I'm going to tell you right now. What is so important in shaping this mindset and making these shifts and develop it is one, learning to take responsibility. That means taking responsibility for what we believe in all kinds of different contexts, what we label ourselves, the labels we accept or give ourselves, the values that we have, any unresolved negative emotions we're holding on to, essentially our memories and our time. We have to take responsibility for all of those things. Those things often, right, when we take responsibility, we have to begin to look into our past, the memories. And when we look in the past, we're looking for all these beliefs and labels and things that maybe place a glass ceiling on us, haven't really helped support us in our ability to deal with the storms of life, the stress that comes on. Once we identify those, we say, oh yeah, all right, I am responsible for this emotion. I am responsible for this belief. I am in control of it. Well, we now need to clean it up. This is that kind of second part of that process. So when we're cleaning that up, it's like weeding a garden. These are weeds that are choking out the beauty of our gardens. So we have to clean them up. If we don't, the garden could be choked out. And there are techniques for doing that. There's processes that we can do for doing that. And once you've kind of done that and gone through that whole cleaning up process, we're kind of back in the present moment. We need to help people, help our kids and teenagers develop habits, good, strong habits. We got to apply heat in our life. Habit, emotion, attitude training. Habits are going to help us learn to effectively deal with our emotions and our beliefs and all that impact our attitudes in this training because we're constantly going through these. Let me kind of finish this little lesson up about the importance of those things by telling you after my wife died, right? We're having a service. After the service, a good number of people coming back to our house. And there's a spot in our backyard that my wife and I had always wanted to have a garden because it's small, but no matter how you're coming in the backyard, you see the garden. That's where it is. Now, we had planted plants there, but we never took care of it. Well, that was going to change. So I got some help with my sister and weeded it out, got those deep-rooted weeds out, all the other weeds. She helped me decide what should go in so it can bloom all year long. We put in some good soil. We made it beautiful. Well, that spring, I had an opportunity to change my living situation. And I left the house to my 3 of my kids. They got a couple roommates. and they were taking care of it. So I came back for a visit, and first chance, probably early June, to go out and enjoy the backyard, and it's like a punch in the gut because the garden was completely overgrown with weeds. It was my responsibility. I didn't continually weed the garden. That's that T in the training, right? You've got to regularly do this. You've got to help show kids that they need to use these tools to weed their garden regularly so their garden can stay in bloom no matter how much it may rain, the wind may blow, the storms of life may come in. Well, we come to the end of another video, an emotional video for me, a personal one, a lot of lessons. It's become my signature talk. I give this quite a bit. I hope you can take the lessons that I learned from that and apply it in your own life. I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Check out our other videos. In particular, I would encourage you to check out the video, Does Drinking Alcohol Reduce Stress in Teenagers? Check that video out today, and please come back and watch another.